Hello, and welcome back to our podcast, listeners. This is episode 57, and I am your host, Socheta. Today, we are diving deep into a topic that is truly the heartbeat of our education system, something that touches the lives of children and families everywhere: teacher attitudes towards inclusive education.
Thank you so much for having me, Socheta. It is such an honor to be here to discuss a subject that is so close to my heart. Inclusion isn't just a policy, it's a way of looking at the world with kindness and equity.
Exactly. And that is why I wanted you here, Mr. Saroon. You have spent decades in the classroom and in leadership, and you have seen the evolution of how we treat students with diverse needs. But let's start with the feeling of it. When we talk about attitude, what does that actually look like in a busy, noisy classroom?
That is a profound question. I often tell my colleagues that a teacher's attitude is like the atmosphere of a room. If the teacher is anxious or resistant, the students feel it. If a teacher sees a child with a disability as a burden or an extra task, that child will never truly feel they belong. But when a teacher looks at a child and sees potential first, that is where the magic happens.
I can only imagine how heavy that responsibility feels for a teacher. I've spoken to many educators who say they want to be inclusive, but they are terrified. They feel they aren't trained enough, or they fear they will fail the child. Is that fear a big part of the attitude we see today?
Oh, absolutely. It is a very real, very human fear. We often mistake resistance for a lack of compassion, but usually it is just a lack of confidence. Teachers are human beings too. They worry about the other 30 students in the room. They worry about meeting curriculum standards. When they face something they don't understand, the natural reaction is to pull back.
But we can't afford to pull back, can we? Every child has a right to be there. I remember a story of a young boy in a rural school who was the first student with a physical disability in his village to attend a mainstream class. The teacher was initially very hesitant, almost cold. But then something changed. What do you think causes that shift in a teacher's heart?
It's the human connection, Socheta. It's always the child. For that teacher, the shift likely happened when she stopped seeing a disability and started seeing a student. Maybe the boy made a joke, or maybe he showed a talent for drawing. Once that wall of otherness crumbles, the attitude shifts from fear to advocacy. Suddenly, the teacher isn't saying, "I can't do this." She's saying, "How can we make this work for him?"
That gives me chills. How can we make this work? It moves from a problem to a shared journey. But Mr. Saroon, we also have to talk about the systemic side. It's hard to have a positive attitude when you are overworked and under-resourced. How do we support teachers so their attitudes remain hopeful rather than burnt out?
You've hit the nail on the head. We cannot expect teachers to be superheroes in a vacuum. A positive attitude requires a supportive environment. It means having a principal who says, "I have your back." It means having access to specialists and materials. When a teacher feels supported by the system, their capacity for empathy and inclusion grows. If they feel abandoned, their attitude will naturally become defensive.
So it's a collective effort. It's not just on the individual teacher's shoulders. It's the whole school culture. I've noticed that in schools where inclusion is celebrated, the students' attitudes are also different. They become more empathetic, more helpful. It's like the teacher's attitude is contagious.
It is incredibly contagious. When a teacher treats inclusion as a privilege rather than a chore, the other children follow suit. They don't see their peer as different in a negative way. They see them as just another friend who might do things a bit differently. We are teaching the next generation how to be a society. That is the true power of a teacher's attitude.
Earnestly, let's talk to the teachers listening right now who might be struggling. Maybe they have a student right now and they feel overwhelmed. They feel that weight in their chest when they walk into the classroom. What would you say to them, heart to heart?
With deep tenderness, I would say, breathe. It is okay to feel overwhelmed. It is okay to not have all the answers, but don't let your fear turn into a wall between you and that child. Look into their eyes. Find one thing you love about them. Start there. Inclusion isn't about being perfect. It's about being present. Your willingness to try is the greatest gift you can give that student.
That is so beautiful, Mr. Saroon. Inclusion isn't about being perfect. It's about being present. I think that is a lesson for all of us, not just in schools, but in life. We often let our fear of doing it wrong stop us from doing it at all.
Exactly. And we must remember that the impact of a positive, inclusive attitude lasts a lifetime. A child who is welcomed despite their challenges grows up believing they have a place in this world. A child who is excluded carries that wound forever. The stakes are high, but the rewards are eternal.
We are nearing the end of our time, but I want to leave our listeners with a sense of hope. We are seeing progress, aren't we? Even if it's slow, the conversation is changing.
Oh, tremendously so. 10 years ago, we weren't even having this conversation in many places. Today, we are talking about attitudes, emotions, and support systems. We are moving toward a world where every classroom door is open to every child. It takes time, it takes patience, and most of all, it takes a change of heart.
A change of heart. What a perfect way to wrap up. Mr. Saroon, thank you for your wisdom, your passion, and for reminding us that the most important tool a teacher has isn't a textbook, but their heart. It has been a true joy speaking with you today.
The joy was all mine, Socheta. Thank you for giving a voice to this vital cause. To all the teachers out there, keep going. You are making more of a difference than you know.
And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in to episode 57. We hope this conversation stays with you as you go about your week. Remember, a little bit of inclusion goes a long way. Until next time, stay kind and stay curious. Stay curious.